I don't have a husband, can I have a date with you? When a powerful CEO said this to a tired single dad holding his daughter at a daycare door, he thought it was a joke. But he didn't know that one sentence would destroy her empire, protect his child, and change all three of their lives forever. Watch till the end, because this isn't a love story. It's a story about choosing family over power. He hadn't planned on staying late that night. The daycare was quiet except for the hum of the old refrigerator and the soft breathing of his daughter asleep against his chest. Daniel adjusted her weight gently, careful not to wake her, and glanced at the clock above the front desk. 9:47 p.m. Again. Being a single father meant time slipped through his fingers differently than it did for everyone else. Minutes weren't minutes. They were meals, homework, bedtime stories, scraped knees, fevers, and moments he never wanted to miss. Tonight, he had promised himself he would close early, take Lily home, and maybe, just maybe, sleep before midnight. That was when the woman walked in. She didn't look lost. She didn't look hurried. She looked out of place. Not because she didn't belong, but because everything about her screamed a different world. Tailored black coat, subtle heels, hair tied back with effortless precision. She scanned the room like someone used to boardrooms, not finger-painted walls and tiny plastic chairs. "I'm sorry," Daniel said quietly, instinctively lowering his voice because Lily stirred. "We're closed." The woman's eyes softened instantly when she noticed the child in his arms. "I know," she replied. Her voice was calm, measured. "I won't take long." Daniel hesitated. People said that all the time. They never meant it. She stepped closer, stopping a respectful distance away. "Are you Daniel Reed?" "Yes," he said cautiously. "Can I help you?" She took a breath, as if bracing herself. "My name is Evelyn Hart." The name meant nothing to him. If it was supposed to, it didn't land. "I don't have a husband," she said suddenly. Daniel blinked. Of all the things he expected her to say, that wasn't one of them. "And," he prompted, shifting Lily slightly as her fingers curled into his jacket. "And I was wondering," Evelyn continued, her composure cracking just enough for him to notice, "if I could have a date with you." Silence settled between them. Daniel stared at her, certain he'd misheard. "I'm sorry, what?" She didn't repeat herself. She simply met his gaze, steady and unflinching. "I know how it sounds. I wouldn't have come if it wasn't important." Daniel let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "Ms. Hart, I think you have the wrong person." "I don't," she said quickly. "I've done my research." That made him uncomfortable. "Look," he said, keeping his tone polite but firm, "I'm not interested in whatever this is. I'm a single dad. I run a daycare. I don't have time for rich women making strange requests." She finished quietly. That surprised him. "I'm the CEO of Hartwell Industries," she said. "And for the first time in my life, I need something money can't buy." He laughed once, short and disbelieving. "You want a date with a guy who smells like baby shampoo and microwaved pasta?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. Lily shifted again, and Daniel instinctively rocked her, his focus snapping back to what mattered most. "You should go," he said. "My daughter needs to get home." Evelyn nodded. "Of course." She paused, then placed a card gently on the desk. "If you change your mind." No pressure. She turned to leave, then stopped. "For what it's worth," she added, "I admire you." The door closed softly behind her. Daniel stared at the card long after she was gone. He didn't call. He told himself it was ridiculous. He had been burned once already, his ex-wife walking out when Lily was barely 6 months old, deciding motherhood wasn't part of the future she wanted. Daniel had learned then that promises were fragile things. Still, the card stayed in his pocket. A week passed. Then another. Life moved forward the way it always did. Diapers, drop-offs, late-night cleaning, and Lily's laughter filling the empty spaces he didn't talk about. He almost forgot about Evelyn Hart. Almost. Until the daycare received a letter. Official. Crisp. Signed. Hartwell Industries was launching a new early childhood development initiative and had selected his daycare as one of the pilot locations. Daniel read the letter 3 times. This wasn't charity. The funding was substantial. Enough to replace broken equipment. Enough to raise staff wages. Enough to expand. Enough to change everything. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. Hello. I promised no pressure, Evelyn's voice said softly. So this isn't about the date. Daniel closed his eyes. You planned this. I planned an opportunity, she corrected. You earned the rest. Silence stretched between them again, heavier this time. Why me? He asked. Because, she said, you love without negotiating. That hit somewhere deep. And the date? He asked quietly. She smiled, he could hear it in her voice. Still optional. Daniel looked at Lily, now awake and watching him with curious eyes. Coffee, he said finally. 1 coffee. During daycare hours. Evelyn exhaled, relief unmistakable. I'll take it. He hung up, heart pounding, unsure if he'd just made a mistake, or stepped into something that would change his life forever. The cafe Evelyn chose was nothing like the places Daniel imagined someone like her would frequent. It wasn't glass and marble luxury with men in suits and women tapping on tablets. It was small, warm, a little noisy. The kind of place where the barista remembered names and the tables wobbled slightly if you leaned too hard. Daniel arrived 10 minutes early, Lily already dropped off at daycare. He wore his cleanest jacket, still faintly smelling of detergent, and felt strangely underdressed no matter how much he told himself this was just coffee. Evelyn arrived exactly on time. No security. No assistant. No designer coat this time, just a simple sweater and jeans. She looked normal, and somehow that made him more nervous. Hi, she said, stopping in front of him. Thank you for coming. 1 coffee, he reminded her. That's it. She smiled. I remember. They sat. For a moment, neither of them spoke. It wasn't awkward silence, more like careful silence, as if both were trying not to step on something fragile. I want to explain, Evelyn said finally. Not justify. Just explain. Daniel nodded. Go ahead. My board thinks I'm a liability, she said calmly. He frowned. Because I'm unmarried. No children. No personal life the public can see. She wrapped her fingers around her cup. They don't say it directly, but they worry investors won't trust a woman who's alone. Daniel leaned back slightly. That sounds illegal. She gave a small laugh. It's subtle. It always is. So you need a fake boyfriend, he said flatly. She shook her head. No, I need someone real. That's worse, he replied. You don't even know me. I know you stayed with your daughter when your wife left, Evelyn said softly. I know you turned down higher paying jobs because they would have kept you away from her. I know your daycare has never had a single safety violation in 8 years. I know you refused a donor last year because he wanted naming rights. Daniel stiffened. You did your homework. I did, she admitted. Because I couldn't afford to get this wrong. He studied her face, searching for arrogance, manipulation, entitlement. He found none. Just exhaustion. Pressure. A woman holding up an empire with one hand and her composure with the other. What exactly are you asking? He said. A public date, she replied. Dinner. A few appearances. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing around Lily unless you're comfortable. I'll compensate you for your time. No, he said immediately. She didn't flinch. I thought you'd say that. I don't sell my life, he continued. Especially not my daughter's. I wouldn't ask you to, Evelyn said. That's why I'm asking you, not someone else. The words hung between them. He finished his coffee. I'll think about it. That's all I ask. The first headline appeared 2 weeks later. Powerhouse CEO seen dining with mystery man. Daniel didn't even recognize himself in the grainy photo. He was mid-laugh, leaning forward, unaware of the camera. Evelyn sat across from him, smiling in a way he hadn't seen before, soft, unguarded. He felt sick. She called him immediately. I'm sorry. I didn't expect them to move that fast. I didn't agree to this, he said tightly. I know, she said. And you can walk away. I'll make a statement. Say it was a business meeting. Daniel looked at the photo again. He looked happy. Dinner, he said. One dinner. That's it. Evelyn exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for days. Thank you. The dinner was nothing like the first coffee. Cameras flashed. People stared. Whispers followed them like shadows. Daniel hated every second of it, until he didn't. Evelyn stayed close, subtly shielding him from the noise, never forcing a pose, never pushing him into anything he didn't choose. When he grew uncomfortable, she noticed. When he wanted to leave, she left. Later, in the car, she turned to him. You did great. I don't belong in that world, he said. You belong wherever you choose to stand, she replied. Something shifted then. Not romance. Not yet. Trust. The trouble came from a place Daniel hadn't expected. Dad, Lily said one evening, her small voice unusually quiet. Why are people on the phone saying you're famous? His chest tightened. Who said that? A lady at the store, she shrugged. She asked if you were the man from the picture. Daniel knelt in front of her, heart pounding. Did it make you uncomfortable? Lily thought about it. A little. That was enough. He called Evelyn that night. We're done. She didn't argue. I understand. I can't do this to her, he said. She didn't choose any of this. I know, Evelyn said softly. And I won't ask you to stay. There was a pause. I'm sorry, she added. For putting you in that position. After the call ended, Evelyn sat alone in her penthouse, staring at the city lights she'd conquered but never enjoyed. She had built everything perfectly, except the one thing that mattered. Meanwhile, Daniel lay awake listening to Lily breathe, wondering why walking away felt like losing something he hadn't known he wanted. The board meeting was brutal. She made you look emotional, one man said. Unstable, another added. Evelyn sat still, spine straight, hands folded. I did nothing unprofessional. You involved a child, someone snapped. She stood. No, I involved myself. Silence fell. If my position here depends on pretending I'm not human, Evelyn continued, voice steady, then perhaps this company no longer aligns with my values. They stared at her, shocked. She walked out. 3 days later, Daniel found Evelyn standing outside the daycare, no cameras, no entourage. Just her. I resigned, she said. His breath caught. Why? Because I was tired of living half a life. They stood there, the noise of children playing behind them. I'm not asking for anything, she said. No dates. No appearances. I just wanted you to know. Daniel looked at her, really looked at her. Would you like to come in? He asked. The kids are painting. Evelyn smiled, eyes shining. I'd like that. And for the first time, neither of them felt like they were pretending. Evelyn sat on one of the tiny plastic chairs, a paintbrush awkward in her hand, staring at the paper in front of her like it was a high-stakes negotiation. Yellow paint dripped slowly toward the edge. I think it's turning into a sun, she said uncertainly. Lily leaned over, studying it with serious focus. Suns are happy, she declared. But you need blue too. For the sky. Evelyn smiled and added blue. Daniel watched from a distance, arms crossed, something warm and unfamiliar spreading through his chest. Evelyn didn't look like a CEO in that moment. She looked like a woman learning how to breathe again. When the class ended, Lily ran to Daniel, holding up her painting. Miss Evelyn helped me. Daniel crouched. Did she do a good job? Lily nodded enthusiastically, then looked up at Evelyn. Are you coming back tomorrow? The question hung in the air. Evelyn didn't answer immediately. She looked at Daniel instead, silently asking permission. Tomorrow's fine, Daniel said. Lily beamed. Evelyn started coming by more often. Always during the day. Always unannounced but never intrusive. Sometimes she read stories. Sometimes she helped clean. Sometimes she just watched. as if memorizing a world she'd never been allowed into. The media buzz faded when she disappeared from public view. Rumors spread, breakdowns, scandals, secret illnesses. She ignored all of it. For the first time in her life, she was choosing silence. Daniel noticed the changes in her slowly. The way her shoulders relaxed. The way she laughed without checking who was watching. The way she listened, really listened, when Lily talked about things that didn't matter to anyone else. One evening, after Lily had fallen asleep, Evelyn stayed behind. "I've never done this before," she admitted quietly. Being present. Daniel leaned against the counter. "You're good at it." She shook her head. "I'm terrified." "Of what?" "Of wanting this," she said. "And not being enough." Daniel looked at her, surprised by the vulnerability. "You don't have to be anything here." Tears welled in her eyes. She wiped them away quickly. "I should go." "Evelyn," he said before she could turn away. "Stay." So she did. The article came out the next morning. Former CEO abandons empire for single father. Daniel found it on his phone while making Lily's lunch. His stomach dropped. By noon, reporters were parked across the street. That evening, Daniel sat Lily down. "Some people are going to say things," he said gently. "They might ask questions." Lily swung her legs. "About Miss Evelyn?" "Yes." She thought for a moment. "She's nice. She listens. And she paints bad sons." He laughed despite himself. "That's true." "Then it's okay," Lily said simply. Daniel's throat tightened. Children had a way of seeing past the noise. Evelyn tried to leave that night. "I won't let them hurt you," she said, voice shaking. "Or Lily." Daniel stepped in front of the door. "You don't get to decide that alone." She looked at him, eyes full of fear. "I ruined things." "No," he said firmly. "You walked away from something that was hurting you. That's not ruin. That's courage." Silence stretched between them, heavy and charged. "I don't need a CEO," Daniel continued. "I don't need headlines. I need honesty." Evelyn swallowed. "I love you." The words came out broken, unpolished, real. Daniel exhaled slowly, as if releasing years of guarded breath. "I love you too." For the first time, they kissed. Not for cameras, not for survival, but because there was nowhere else. They wanted to be. Months passed. Evelyn started something new. Smaller. Purpose-driven. No board. No illusions. She invested in education, quietly, without putting her name on buildings. Daniel expanded the daycare, not into an empire, but into a community. Lily grew. One afternoon, Lily stood between them in the park, holding both their hands. "Are we a family now?" Daniel and Evelyn exchanged a look. "Yes," Evelyn said softly. That night, as Daniel tucked Lily into bed, she whispered, "I like when Miss Evelyn stays." "So do I," he said. Years later, no one talked about the scandal anymore. They talked about the woman who walked away from power to choose love. They talked about the man who taught her that strength didn't have to be loud. And they talked about the little girl who showed them both what mattered most. Because in the end, the greatest success Evelyn ever achieved wasn't a company. It was a life she didn't have to beg for.